Hi. For A-level geology, there are a number of structures that go a little bit beyond what we've learned for AS geology. This series of videos and the map exercises that accompany them introduce you to these new ideas. The next in this series relates to this structure we're seeing in front of us. What can you see going on with these beds? Clearly they're folded, but this is a vertical section. So what's happened to these beds? One of the limbs of these folds, because the axial plane here is recumbent, must be overturned. And this is what Map C is all about. If we have an overfold or a recumbent fold, one limb is going to be upside down. Now, there are symbols used on geological maps to show overturned beds. We need to make sure we recognize those, and we need to make sure, in particular, where we're extending beds above the surface or even at depth below the surface, that we're connecting the same bed together with those. Now, we can recognize overturned beds either because, as I say, a symbol will show us that the bed's overturned, or that there's some type of way up criteria which allows us to work that out. For example, sedimentary structures. There are some sedimentary structures that form in a way that means that they have to have one way is the right way up. This is an example. This is an image of some graded bedding. Now, with graded bedding, we have coarser grain class at the bottom of a bed, grading up to finer grain beds at the top. Now, clearly we can see on this image that that's not the case. Here, up, okay, or the top of the bed is underneath the bottom of the bed. This bed has been overturned. This could be one of the clues you're given that beds have been turned upside down. There are others that can be used as well. Geopetals, fluke casts, or the soil structures, all give good way up criteria. We can also use fossils. If we find fossils that are in a life position, so where an organism grows in a particular way, if we find it in that same way, then we know that the beds are the right way up. This is a petrified tree, for example. Now, trees grow up. So if we find a tree trunk like this one, which we can see is getting wider as it goes towards the base, that these rocks clearly have to be the right way up. If this is the other way around, so if we're seeing the roots above the trunk, for example, we know the beds have been overturned. Corals are another example of fossils that have a particular way up. Particular colonial corals allow us to work out the correct way up of beds. So, have a go at Map C and the problems that it shows. Perhaps the best place to start would be to, on your map, to highlight, label up any fold axes you can identify, watch out for those overturned beds, any faults, unconformities and intrusions. Then have a go at the questions. As we see the sunset of the Scottish Highlands, where we see many examples of overturned beds, once you've completed your cross-section, had a go at those questions, check out the answers. See if you can work out how those answers have been derived.